Hello friends and welcome to this video of Slidescope. In this video we are going to talk about data. We are going to talk about data science, data analysis and machine learning. So this is a very basic discussion about data science, machine learning and data analysis. We have discussed about data analysis, machine learning separately in their tutorials, in their respective tutorials. But the main motto of this particular presentation is to discuss about meaning of data and block diagram of data science. So first of all, here are some definitions of data. Facts and statistics, when they are collected together for reference or analysis, then it is known as data. So some facts, some statistics, the collection of facts and statistics for the purpose of analysis is known as data. Another thing about data is like alphabets, numbers, characters or symbols on which operations are performed by a computer. These information may be stored and transmitted in the form of electrical signals. This information can be recorded on magnetic, optical or mechanical recording media such as your pen drive, such as your hard disk of computers, pen drives, CD drives, Blu-ray discs, anything can be used to store or collect data. The information in raw or unorganized form is known as data. So these are the basic definition of data. Now, since we have talked about what is data, let's talk about what is data collection. So collection of data objects and data attributes. That means data collection is the process of gathering and measuring information on targeted variables in an established system, which then enables one to answer relevant questions and evaluate outcomes. So, in another way of saying the same thing is a systematic approach of gathering and measuring information from a variety of sources. So for the sake of simplicity, we have defined two methods of data collection here. These are some general methods and these are some digital methods, the methods which we are the more familiar with nowadays, the methods with which we relate data nowadays. So general methods are surveys, interviews, focus groups, and these are primary methods used for collecting information. So when computer systems were not so much developed, when so people used to take surveys, interviews, focus groups, and the collection of data was done on the basis of these methods. These methods are still used and they are very much helpful for research and development, advertising, publishing, and many things. There are some digital methods also. Data is collected from mobile devices. So you have a mobile device, you perform various actions on your mobile device, and that data can be collected for research, that data can be collected for better development. Then there is website traffic. Whenever someone visits a website, then that results in some form of data. So whenever we visit a website, informations like what is the age group of visitor, what is the gender of visitor, what is the location of visitor, what are the possible hobbies of visitor, etc. So things like that are collected by data analytics tools. Online transactions and interactions on website. So whenever someone interacts on a website or whenever someone makes a transaction on a website, that information is also collected, and that information is collected for further analysis to make the system more efficient and better. Interactions on website result in displaying content that is relevant for you. So based on your past interactions, you might see suggested videos in on YouTube or recommended videos on YouTube. Based on your past interaction with some shopping website, you can see recommended products. So that is that is the data driven product which is created with the help of past with the help of data from the past interactions on websites. Whenever you fill a form, whenever you fill any kind of online form like registration form, sign up form, application form for a job, whatever you fill online, or in very simple way, whenever you type something on Google, whenever you search something on Google, so that results in collection of data. So these are some common methods using which data is collected nowadays. These are some sources. We are discussing about some sources of data here. You can see these sources here. There are geographical sources. We collect data from geographical uh, coordinates and geographical details. We collect data or we can get data. Then there are some cultural information that result in data collection. Scientific experiments result in data. Every scientific experiment result in some sort of data. Financial transactions, like you can see conversion of various currencies, exchange rate of various currencies, and financial transactions. Uh, Financial data is also the information about a company, about its financial health and performance, and it is used for internal management as well as outside stakeholders. Then we have data from statistics or statistical data. So statistics is basically a science that involves data collection, data interpretation, data and data validation. So statistical data analysis is a procedure of performing various statistical operations, and depending upon the number of variables, the researchers perform different statistical techniques. Then we have data from weather, like temperature, temperature of any particular city, humidity, air pressure, wind speed. So things like that uh, fall under the category of weather or meteorological data. We also can collect data from nature, information about various plants, their origin, species of various animals, and anything that belongs to nature is there, that the data which occurs naturally. Then there is data related to transport. Every activity that is there in transport results in data. For example, data of traffic is used by various cab applications to give you information about the pricing of your ride. Also, if you use Google Maps tells data on the basis of geographical coordinates, and that data helps in transport. Traffic counts, travel behavior inventory, truck freight demand. This transport and logistics data is very much useful. So these are some sources that result in data. So because we are discussing what is data, so we must consider these sources, as these sources are the main reasons for generation of data. There are various other sources, but these common, whatever events are happening in these fields, these are fields like geography, cultural science, finance, statistics, whether whatever actions or events are happening in these fields, they will result in data, and we can use the data collection techniques to collect that data. And as the years are passing by, the amount of data is increasing exponentially. So we have an exponential increase in the amount of data every year, because every year more and more events are happening. So this is some basic sources of data. Then we have basically two types of data. One is qualitative data and other is quantitative data. So based on the events and happenings in these sources, in these data sources, the data which we have can be primarily of two types. One is qualitative data and another is quantitative data. Qualitative data, as the name suggests, data that tells something, or uh, that defines attributes of something, and quantitative data that tells exact number about something. So qualitative data related to the quality, and quantitative data is related to numbers. So qualitative data is something that cannot be expressed as numbers, because qualitative data is basically attributes of something, and data that can be expressed as numbers and it can be quantified is known as quantitative data. Hence, can data be counted? So answer in case of qualitative data is no. Can data be counted? Answer is yes. So some data types or some examples are words, objects, pictures, observations, and symbols. And in case of quantitative data, we have numbers and statistics. So this is some basic information about qualitative and quantitative data. Again, we have the same example, and in this slide we are discussing about some examples of qualitative data and some examples of quantitative data for better understanding. So types of data: qualitative and quantitative. In case of qualitative data, we have names like Ram, Shyam, John. So name of a person is data, but it is not a number, and that's why it is fall under the category of qualitative data. Then smell like buttery, fruity, sweet, mint. So again, this is telling something. This is telling some information about any particular product or thing, but it is not a number. Attributes like tall, handsome, smart. Again, this is adding some meaning to to a particular object, but the information is not a number. The information cannot be quantified. In case of quantitative data, it is examples like marks in exam. So suppose these are marks of 5 people in exams: 55, 65, 78, 92, 34, etc. So this is quantity. We can tell how many marks you got. We can tell you got 92 marks. Again, mass of an object or weight of an object like 2 kg, 300 grams, etc. So this is quantitative data. Salary of a person. Salary of a person is also a number. So that's why the analysis of or the data analysis on quantitative data is done with a different approach, and analysis and algorithms that are used for learning of qualitative data has a different approach. Again, this is a basic example where data can be classified into two types, qualitative and quantitative. Again, quantitative data is also of two types. One is the discrete data, and then there is continuous data. Discrete data examples are, for example, 5 kids, 3 laptops, 96 workers, where we are talking about n number of person, n number of places, n number of things. So for every person, every place, everything, there can be n number of attributes also. So for example, if there are 50 kids in a school, if or 50 kids in a class, so every kid will have a height, every kid will have a weight, every kid will have a name. So these are attributes that are associated with discrete data. So this is discrete data. Every kid is different from each other, and that's why such kind of data is discrete. One data for one person, one place, or one thing. In case of continuous data, there are basically units like 3.25 kg. This is a continuous data. This data can be an attribute to this discrete data, but this data is continuous. For example, a kit can be of 32.5 kg. 96 workers are there. The salary of each worker can be, let's say, 15,000 rupees. So this type of data where you will find units to define data, or where you can use units to define your data, you can say it is a continuous data. If you will plot this data, you can say, you can tell that before 3.25 kg. So this is a scale, you can tell these things on a scale also. So these things fall on a scale, but 5 kids, 96 workers. So information like this falls under discrete data. And these two data can be used together to form a tabular structure, which you are familiar with. If you have used tools like MS Excel or SQL, then you can see we store informations in tabular form, where columns represent the attributes of data and every row is a individual data. This is the process of data science. Now we have discussed about data, what is data, what are the different types of data. So now we are discussing the data science process. This is a very simple process. This is a very simple diagram. We have not tried to make things complex, and that's why we are keeping everything very simple in this discussion. And here is world. This is nothing but these various sources of data. So in world, various events are occurring, and every event is resulting in some form of raw data. We also discussed that the information in raw or unorganized form is known as data. Now, this raw data can be anything. It can be qualitative data, it can be quantitative data. If it's quantitative data, it can be continuous data, or it can be a discrete data. So it needs some processing. Before saving the data in our data sets, before data collection, we need to process that data. Like I like if there are, let's say, 1000 workers in a factory. So every worker, the information of every worker will contribute in data, in creating data. And every worker has a name, every worker has an age, every worker is given a salary, every worker may be working on a different sector, or maybe working on different fields. which we call departments also. So what is the department of that worker, what is the salary of that worker? So we can prepare a tabular data for every worker, and on the row of that tabular data, or an individual worker will be there on every row, or every row will be for a particular worker, and all the columns will belong to same worker. So that is how we create data sets. Very common examples of data set are SQL table, uh, Excel data, Excel sheet is also example of data set. A combination or collection of Excel sheets is also a data set. Combination of various tables is known as a database. So after getting raw data and after processing it in proper form, we get data sets. So if you are going to study data science, or if you are studying data science, or if you are trying to build your career in the field of this data science, so this thing here, data processing, has various steps like data collection, data munging, data wrangling, uh, data warehousing. So all those steps, this thing here involves all those steps. Then when we have data sets, we can do two things on these data sets. One is the statistical models or analysis. This is nothing but what we call data analysis. We can perform data analysis on the data which we have, and we can create machine learning predictions also. From the data which we have, we can create machine learning predictions. So machine learning predictions can be used to create data driven products. The statistical models or analysis that is done on the data set also can be used to create data driven products. This data, both machine learning prediction and statistical model and analysis, can be used to write reports, journals, books, blogs, visualization reports, or you can present the graphical visualization of whatever you have analyzed. So, for example, analysis of weather data, whenever you will type or whenever you will search for weather data of any particular city, then Google or other search engines show you some graph there, how temperature is varying for various hours on that particular day. You can also get weather forecast, and in weather forecast, that forecast is represented with a visualization report or blog. So that is nothing but a statistical model or analysis. Now, what is machine learning predictions? So things like driverless cars. So based on the data, based on the input and output data, or based on the patterns that are there on road and coding knowledge, uh, driverless cars can drive without the help of human interactions. Another example is chatbot. You can, for example, Siri. Siri can understand your language and it can process your language. And after understanding and processing your language, it can tell you the answer of that particular question that you are asking from it. So other examples are Google Assistant, Cortana, everything. So that is part of machine learning. So based on past interactions, based on data from the patterns, based on data from the regularities in data, and based on information or based on information from the input and output relationship of the data, machine learning predictions are done. So these are basically this is a very simple data science process, and you can see after statistical analysis and modeling, we can come to machine learning also. So statistical models and analysis is done in order to understand the relationship between various input and output parameters. An example is, suppose we have to predict whether the person has diabetes or not. So based on the medical records, based on the data from medical records, it can be predicted, because if you have higher sugar level than normal sugar level, then you may be having diabetes. So there are various parameters that can be collected together, that can be analyzed together to predict diabetes. So we have some practical examples. We have videos where we have discussed about some practical problems. We have discussed some practical data sets, and we have performed data analysis on them, and the reports and the coding is shared on those videos. On the description section of those videos, you can find the Python coding or the R language coding, so you can watch those videos. But this is a very simple uh, diagram of data science process. Again, now since we have discussed about this data science process, now we are discussing about some internal parts of these blocks. So this is data analysis steps. What are the various steps that are there in data analysis process? So we know that first part is data collection. You can see there raw data is there, then this raw data is processed, and then we have data sets. For example, a data set can be information about all the passengers traveling on Titanic, all those passengers who were traveling on Titanic, and when the accident occurred, how many of them were able to survive the accident. So there are various attributes that are there for every passenger, like age of passenger, in which class that particular passenger was traveling, what fare did that passenger pay for the journey, and what was the age of that passenger, and various at what was the gender of that passenger, and various attributes are there. So we have performed a machine learning, we have used a decision tree machine learning algorithm on that data set to predict. After, suppose we will give the attributes of a passenger to a machine, and the machine will predict whether the passenger survived or not. So, based on the training data, the machine can predict things. So, that video is also available on our channel. You can go and watch that video. Here we are discussing about the data analysis steps. So, in case of data collection, first observation is there. You can collect data on the basis of your observation. You can write it down. You can take interviews, and that will result in collection of data. You can have documents. You can have some documents which have some information, so that is already a data collection. Recording, you can record, or you can have a recording, that is already a data collection. You can scrape data. Web scraping is a very common technique in data science to collect data. So in the you can use languages like Python or PHP to scrape data from websites for the sake of understanding, analysis, and collection. Then there is data reduction. This is basically the process of removing unwanted data and keeping the productive or useful data. And the methods involved in data reduction are selection, focusing, simplifying, abstracting, and transforming. So in our tutorial of data analysis, we will discuss about data collection, we will discuss about data reduction, And all the steps that you are seeing here, all the discussions that we are doing here, we will see practical examples of everything in the next parts of this data analysis series. Then we have data display. Once you have data available with you, you can use charts, you can use matrices, you can use graphs. Charts is written two times. You can use tables to display data. Then after viewing those chart, after viewing the matrices, after performing various analysis, after performing various algorithms using mathematics on data, using statistical calculations on data, we can draw conclusion from it. We get insights, we get confirmation, we get verification. So the process is, first you collect data, then you reduce data to your liking as per the project, as per the requirement. Then you display that data to analyze it, or this display can be used in blogs, in journals, in books, anything. And that data can be used for drawing conclusions also, like confirmation, verification, insights, etc. So this is a very basic or simple process of data analysis. You can remember these terms here, and these terms will be used when you will perform data analysis on real data sets. We have some videos of exploratory data analysis on various data sets like Indian Premier League data. We have exploratory video analysis on FIFA 19, which is a football video game. All the players of football video game, we have data of approximately 18,000 players, and on those players we have performed exploratory analysis on their attributes. Then we have a data set where we have performed analysis on Titanic data set also. Means what are the factors that that can be used to predict the survival or death of any particular passenger on Titanic. And we have various other data sets. So you can find those data sets on our channel. This is an example of quantitative data analytics. So uh, this quantitative data analysis is done using a tool called Tableau. Tableau is a useful tool for data scientists, data analysts, machine learning, and various people who want to build their career in the field of this data analysis and everything. So in this data is about per capita income of a country, and this data is available in CSV format on kaggle.com. And you can see we have information like what was the per capita income of that country in 1970, and what was the per capita income in 2017, 2014. So on those years, this is a relational data. For every year we have some per capita income which is in US dollars. So when so a graph is used here to represent this data, and you can see how per capita income is growing with respect to year, how every year per capita income is increasing, and you can see that it is increasing linearly, but the growth is not perfectly linear. So that's why linear regression is used. Linear regression is basically an algorithm that is used in supervised machine learning. This algorithm can be used to fit a line between the various scatter points of this data, so that for future years we can predict the output. So because in case of linear, in case of line, we can draw a function y is equal to mx plus c. So we have explained about this data. We have explained the process in a video. But again, when I am saying we have explained, we have these videos, it is not necessary to go and watch them. But if you are interested, you can do that. You just have to understand the concept of data in this particular tutorial. If you are fairly new to the field of data analytics, if you are just trying to know something about data analysis, data science, machine learning, then this video is just to give you some information how we perform data analysis, how we perform what is quantitative, what is qualitative. So, by giving you some practical examples, and you can watch those videos in a sequence. And after watching those videos in a sequence, you will be able to understand everything. Now, this is a simple block diagram for machine learning, and here you can see we have data. We perform some statistical analysis on data, and then that data is taken into two parts. One is the training data, and another is the testing data. So suppose we have 100 rows of data. So out of those 100 rows, we will take 80 rows to train data, and 20 rows of data will be used to test it. Suppose there is data about 1000 players. There is data about 1000 players of any particular game. Their various attributes are there, and we have to predict something from it. So we can break that data into 80, 20, 70, 30 part, and 70% of data will be used to train the machine, and 30% of that data will be used to test. And this testing is done to check the accuracy of system, and training is done to check the correctness of the system. And once these things are checked, once we have some efficiency that we can go with, so end products are created. So some common end products of machine learning are VPA, virtual personal assistants like Siri, Cortana, virtual chatbots that can tell you anything, that can open apps for you, that can give answers to you from Google API. There are automatic cars we talked about. Some applications are there that can recognize your face, and this is used in security. Uh, you might see relevant ads on your website. So these are some end products of machine learning. We have discussed about machine learning in great deal. We have a separate step by step machine learning tutorial where you can start learning machine learning. So we have the theory part, which you can use to learn what is the theory of machine learning, what are the different types of machine learning, what are the different algorithms of machine learning. Then we have practical coding part. Now, if you are interested in learning data science, if you are interested in becoming a data scientist or a data analyst or even a business analyst, then these programming languages can be helpful for you. So there are some advanced languages also, but you can start with these languages because these are very basic languages. These are easy to learn, and you must have knowledge of one or two or at least three of these languages so that you can perform successfully in data analysis, data analytics in the field of data analytics. First language is Python. Python is an open source language that is used by many data scientists, and Python has libraries, that libraries, and those libraries can be used for data analytics, can be used for plotting graphs, can be used for data visualization, can be used for machine learning. So whatever we were seeing in this particular block diagram, We can do everything with the help of Python. Python can read various data sets like Python can read SQL data, Python can read Excel data, Python can read XML data, extensible markup language. Python can read JSON APIs. Python can read information from JSON APIs also. So whatever languages are there to represent structured data, these languages like Python, R, and Java in particular can be used to read that data. Then we have SQL. SQL is basically used for creating relational databases. Organizations, institutions have data, and the databases of these organizations and institutions are mostly created using some sort of SQL, like MySQL is there, MS SQL is there, Oracle is there. So there are various forms of SQL. So you can you must have some basic knowledge about these languages. And there are many languages like Scala and everything, but you can get started with Python or SQL. And tools that are useful for data analysis are Tableau is there, Power BI is there, then MATLAB is there, R Studio is there, MS Excel. So these tools are used for collecting data. These tools are used for analyzing or visualizing various patterns in data. These can be used for creating various type of graphs like bar graphs, histograms, pie charts, scatter plots to understand the relationship between input and output variables. So thank you for watching the video, and on our YouTube channel Colorstack and Slidescope we have various step-by-step tutorials, and you can view those tutorials to understand the use of various languages for data analytics. So these are some. We have data analytics tutorial, machine learning tutorial, PHP tutorial, Python tutorial, SQL tutorial. Uh, we have created some videos where we have demonstrated the use of R language for data visualization. We have some videos where we have demonstrated the use of Tableau language for data visualization. And then if you are interested in the digital marketing part, because one application of data analysis and machine learning is in digital marketing also. So you can see our step-by-step Google AdWords tutorial. Google AdWords is used by many business owners to market their products, and step-by-step digital marketing tutorial. So we have various videos also, but if you are interested just in data analytics, you can start learning Python and SQL. So you can start with Python tutorial or SQL tutorial. If you are interested in joining the course, you can contact us on Slidescope. We have some articles available. Articles of these tutorials are also available on slidescope.com. If you want to read things, you can go to slidescope.com and you will find articles there. So thanks again for watching this video. If you have any doubts, you can comment. If you have any suggestions, then also you can comment. And once again, thanks for watching.